What's up, mixed reactions? This is Ian. I'm in Las Vegas. I am your local Rams, Angels, Clippers, and Ducks fan.
Raiders.
I'm with Casey. No, fuck you. I'm with Casey, your local Boston Bruins, Boston Celtics, Dallas Cowboys, then Boston Red Sox fan. We don't have shit going on in sports. We're gonna be talking some NBA free agency, maybe a little bit of baseball, maybe a little bit about my, my post nap routine. But what were you doing? How's it going today, Casey?
I'm doing well. When you're mentioning my sports teams, why on earth would you mention the Bruins first?
I know.
And like all the teams that I like, they're like the least. Like I like the Bruins as an NHL hockey team. Don't get me wrong, but they're way down on my list for my favorite teams.
Yeah, and a team that's not down on my list is the Los Angeles Clippers. And oh man, it is
It's a
it was
sad day
rough,
to be a
man.
Clippers fan.
It is. And before we get into so before I get my take on the Paul George, if you were to describe the Paul George move in 3 words or less, what would it be?
Hmm. Championship or bust.
Mine would be this was expected, and I'm gonna tell you why. I knew something. I knew they were gonna do something to break up. I mean, it wasn't necessarily them. You know, that Philly was able to put him in a position to win a championship. Clippers didn't give him what he wanted, but um, I mean, I knew that in some way, shape, or form they were gonna try to or that they were going to split up, and that's I'm not too. It hurts because there were nights where Paul George was easily our best player. I mean, more nights than I can count. But good luck to him and Philly. I'm sure that they'll have a good team, especially now with him able to play both ways, and them having Maxi getting better every year and still having Embiid. But how do you feel about that move?
Well, before I get into how I feel, I want you to rate Paul George's experience as a Clipper. Like, how would you view his time in Clippers? Do you view it as a success or no?
Um, I mean, because the thing is, he definitely did do some good things with the Clippers. I mean, I don't think indifferent would be the right word, but I would say neutral. I don't think that, for what he was brought there to do with him and Kawhi and to reach the conference finals one time, um, I don't think I would say it was a failure because of how much they've had to deal with, and Kawhi not even always being on the floor. But I would just say it's not. I feel the same I did before we got Paul George. It's like you know now we got to be back. Got to go back to try to build it again. Apparently.
So you can't necessarily classify it as a success, though, either. I mean, when you have two superstars with the calibers of Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, a championship is expected, and to not even reach a finals must be some sort of disappointment, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and I don't know if part of it is me, just kind of always used to the Clippers losing, and then also too, it's I mean I hate making excuses, but they have a legit excuse just about every year. Somebody's been hurt in the playoffs. Um, I mean we blew a 3-1 series lead in the bubble. Yeah, I mean well, okay. I guess if I was to lean one way, I guess I would lean more so failure. But as far as like quality of play, I don't think Paul George stunk it up in LA. I mean, he did it at
No.
times in the playoffs, but as far as like his overall, like I think them not winning is more of a team thing. But I think we got a lot out of Paul George. It's there's only one team that wins every year, so
No, I get that. And I agree. I don't necessarily think it was like an all-time epic failure, but at the same time, I do believe that when you have the capabilities of a Paul George, of a Kawhi Leonard, and then this year bringing in James Harden, a championship, I don't want to say it's expected because it's almost impossible to expect a championship, but a championship should be well within their sights. In a couple years, we're talking about the bubble year, of course. Paul George did not play well in the bubble. There's no ways to miss words about it. He was not especially in that Denver series when they had that 3-1 lead and blew it. He was a key contributor to blowing said series.
Yeah, and the thing about Paul George too is he played what four kind of 1920, 2021, 21,
5 seasons,
22,
right?
23, 24. Yeah, he played 5 seasons, and it's like, first year, let's say, get knocked out of the bubble down 3-1. Second year we actually go to the conference finals, lose. Third year was 2022, and I think we lost to the fucking. Who do we play? That was the year the Warriors won. Who the fuck did we play in the
I think you
damn?
got knocked out by Dallas, didn't you? No.
No. We
Phoenix?
beat. Um. No, it was. I want to look that shit up. Fuck. It was the It was not Blazers. Obviously, it wasn't Golden State. No. It was the fucking. Who the fuck did we play? There ain't no way we missed the playoffs. Hold on. That's bugging the shit out of me now. 2022 Clippers playoffs. We played the. It was Phoenix, I guess. That's what I was thinking. But anyway, and then we come out this year and lose to Dallas round one, like a good team. I mean, yeah, I think even if they stuck together, Paul George and Kawhi could absolutely be the best two players on a championship team in 2025. But, it doesn't work out that way. He's from Southern California. That's why I really thought that this was the moment. I thought they would all kind of come together, but, and win. But couldn't even make the fucking finals. So back to being the Mets. At least the Mets had 2 World Series.
I mean, at this point, when you really sum up Paul George's career, though, aside from Indiana, he's always been surrounded by elite level talent. And this has got to be the put up or shut up time frame for Paul George, which is why my 3 words for him are championship or bust. I mean, you got to think he's obviously got Joel Embiid, who's one or two best 2 big men in the of the best big men in the NBA. He's either 1 or 2, and then Tyrese Maxey is an up and coming star / superstar in this league. Philadelphia now is probably right behind Boston for favorites to win the East. I don't think this propels them past Boston. Like, I don't think Paul George is as good as Jason Tatum.
No, I don't think so either. But I think this gives Boston a legit threat. I mean, and the thing too is like, and we could talk all day about the East and the teams that didn't do what they could have this year, but like the Bucks, if they can figure their shit, like look at the talent they have.
Yeah, no, the East is becoming extremely top heavy, I guess I should say, because when you look at the East now, there's 3 teams in the East. There's Boston, Philly, and Milwaukee. Nobody else in the East has a chance to win it.
And it seems like the East is like, even going back to, with the exception of like, there have been a few years, but I mean, it seems like it's always been very top heavy. Like the worst teams in the East are usually trash. Like the last seeds are usually trash. So, that's going to help Boston win a few games next year. But I mean, it's one of those things to where it might be a while until we see another repeat champion. I don't know the next time we're going to see a three-peat, because if Denver is Boston the team to do it, I don't know. Maybe they finally got that confidence after winning. Like maybe they are.
There's too much variables for a repeat champion at this point, because I don't think there's a team dominant enough or where just everything's going to fall into their favor, because you got to think, to win a championship, obviously you have to be a super talented team, but you also need a little bit of luck to fall your way.
Oh, every time there's not a championship run where you don't get a couple of bounces going your way. So I mean, I totally get it, but it's now championship or bust in Philly. I think that's a good that's a good way to put it. Considering I mean, Embiid's going into shit. He's gonna be 33. I could be wrong. Maybe he's younger than that, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how they come to start out the season. I think Paul George has a whole other dimension. I'm excited about it. Not only can he play defense, he can score. And yeah, and Embiid healthy, gonna get a whole offseason to recover. I think Philly is gonna be really dangerous, but somebody I'm not sure whether they're gonna be dangerous, and this is the topic of basketball for the draft was last Wednesday. Bronny James, son of LeBron James, getting picked. We're not even going to talk about that. Zachary Richer, just because this draft is absolute trash. We can talk about that another time. But Bronny James going to the Lakers, 55th overall pick, getting to play with his dad, making it the first father-son combo in the NBA. What, like, I have no words. What words do you have for what we just witnessed with Bronny James?
Of him getting drafted to the Lakers?
Yes.
Okay.
Same-day delivery on thousands of items with 4th of July savings at the Home Depot.
Man, that's a good question. I guess the way that I would have to sum up the Bronny James to the Lakers situation is obviously everybody saw it coming, right? So it's not that anyone was actually surprised about it. I am a little annoyed at the people that are like, oh, he's only there because of his dad, and they weren't acting like before his heart condition he wasn't going to be a consensus top 10 pick.
Was he though?
Yeah, he was going to be. They had him, I think, going 6th. And then he had to sit out, obviously, because of his heart condition. And then didn't have the, breakout season that everyone's expecting for someone the likes of LeBron James Jr. or Bronny James, whatever you want to call him. But at the same time, he's a hell of a talented player. He's a very good defender. He's a pretty good shooter. He's got good athleticism, good passer. I'm not saying he's going to be anything close to his dad. Like, I don't think he's going to be anything close to LeBron. But at the same time, I think he's going to be a contributor on an NBA level for many years. I don't think he's going to be a bench warmer. I don't think he's going to be a bust. I think he's going to be a very good player.
Yeah, Steve, and I'll get into whether I think he deserves it or not. But I could see him actually, making the most of the opportunity. Now, I don't remember him ever being a top 6 pick. Maybe he moved up, but I don't. But for the most part, I mean, he didn't even average that many points a game in high school. Like he's 6'2", 6'3". Like he's short. Yeah, he's a decent shooter. He can pass. I think he has. Maybe it has been taught by LeBron, but stuff you can't teach as far as like vision and stuff. But I mean, I definitely think if he wasn't LeBron, his son would have been picked with that pick. Because if somebody would have picked him up before 55, if he was everything you're saying. And I get he's a late pick, but like I don't. Maybe the Lakers just know something we don't. Maybe they know something we don't. Like, and we just gotta. And that's gonna be so cool, man. Seeing LeBron not give Bronny a ride home after he misses the corner 3, or when he tries to have him traded. Call on a 3. Dude, this season is going to be a movie. You have JJ Redick, who was accused of being a fucking racist like 2 weeks ago. Some a writer said that he called her the N-word while she was visiting Duke. And now he's the coach of the Lakers. And I think, no, I don't. I mean, I don't, I don't know JJ Redick, but I not really. I mean, I don't really know anything about her credibility. I mean, it could be true, but I don't.
Why come out now?
Right. I mean, yeah, that seems like something. I don't know. I can't judge a reason to come out now, but it's like you're right. It's very. I mean, JJ Redick hasn't been in the spotlight since, like he was at Duke, like this. So I mean, whatever. But yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Like you're gonna have Bronny, you're gonna have JJ, and what happens if the Lakers and my whole thing is like if we see the Lakers start out poorly, if they start out 1-4, 5-9 or something. Yeah, and it's like, dude, it's just like it's almost like the coach of the Lakers. It should be instead of Lakers head coach in the program, it should be Lakers fall guy. Because I feel like so many of those coaches are there, and I want you let me know your opinion on this too. But I feel like so many of those coaches get there, and they're just gonna get blamed when things go wrong. Regardless of how well anybody is shooting, regardless of how well guys actually give effort to get into position and actually get out and defend threes. The Lakers, it was absolutely like their defense, especially against the Nuggets, looked airtight, but just they're defending the 3 sometimes. They get beat a lot, They got beat a lot on rotations, and then they also just just left guys wide open. And you have a new coach coming in. He's not even really as defensive minded as Darvin Ham. Maybe he could cook up some magic offensively, but like it's going to be a lot to see what the Lakers do this year. The Splash Brothers do.
Man, the end of an era.
Man, and that really like for there's kids that like that was like 9 years ago they won their first championship. Like there's people. I'm not as nostalgic about the Splash Brothers as I am about like Kobe and
Oh, agreed, 100%.
But it's like that is some people's like the Splash Brothers here. But you know how popular those motherfuckers are in the Philippines.
What do you think that's gonna do for Dallas? Like, he's a perfect fit for that offense.
I think he's a good fit. I like it. Like I really like the fit for Dallas, and that's what thing I was that was my biggest fear for Dallas going into the year is not having because you have Kyrie played like shit. I don't know. He needs to get that shit together, especially in the finals. But we know what he can do. But now you have a third guy who has 4 championships coming in, and he brings the experience. And at this point, Luke has tons of playoff. He's been to the finals now. Luke has tons of playoff experience. Kyrie has playoff experience. And now you have guys like PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Lively. And now they have played in the finals. And now they have a veteran even bringing more leadership. The thing about the West, man, and like, obviously as the season comes up, we're going to get into a lot more predictions and whatnot. But the West is almost hard to make predictions because it's so good. Like there's so many. Like I mean, you mentioned the word earlier when we were talking about something else. Variables with the West, there's so many variables. It
100%.
it could be injury whatnot. It could be Minnesota because they start out hot and another team gets a small they just small injury and they just coast. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see next year. Just exactly how everything happens. We all know who the first pick in 2025 is probably going to be. Your boy Cooper Flag.
Do you see that he's on the men's select team? Yeah, that's crazy. I can't wait to watch some games like of him in there.
Dude,
when does that start? The White versus Blue games.
Well, I don't think the White versus Blue game has a select team. Does it?
Oh, I thought they got to play against them a couple times, like as tune-ups.
They do, and they might, but I know they do in scrimmages, like in the gym, because that was the one clip of when Kyrie fucking dribbled through like the whole Lakers team. You might be right, maybe they do play in scrimmages, but yeah, Cooper Flag, bro, like that dude is he's gonna be a
problem.
Dude, he can block, like his shot blocking 'ability is crazy. But speaking of problem, Victor Wembanyama, man, that dude he's 7'4". Every time I watch Wembanyama, at least once or twice a game, I catch myself like I can't really do it because I'm not on camera, but like looking away from the TV, like I can't believe he's that fucking looking away, like oh my god, what the fuck did I like? No way, like there's no way he's that, bro. He played Giannis this year in prime time. I think it was in San Antonio, bro. Or I don't know. I think it was in San Antonio. They went at each other like him and Giannis. Bro, he's 7'4", and he has a good instinct. Like that's one team that I think the U.S. Well, a couple of teams they need to be worried about. Serbia's
Canada.
Pretty good. But, oh yeah,
that backcourt of Murray and SGA is going to be a problem.
Yeah, but the thing is, and your patriotism a few weeks ago on the show really inspired my love for my, to really show my love for my country. But bro, we have LeBron and Steph Curry. We're not fucking losing this tournament.
And Kevin Durant.
And I there are some times where I stick for. Well, I never said we were gonna lose. I just felt like the international game, bro. Like I watch a good amount of basketball, both, mainly obviously in the NBA, but I have watched a decent amount of foreign ball. And the rules are so you can hit the ball while it's on the cylinder. You can essentially get away with hand check, and only the coach can call timeout. There's a certain time where you can't advance the ball. Like there's so much different. I think defensive. There's no defensive three in the key. So Victor and Rudy can just stand in the paint, blocking shots.
That's
And
gonna be yeah, but that's when we'll take it outside and start hitting threes with Curry, Durant, Tatum, Booker.
and these other countries, bro, they really think they got the potion. I really say this year we come and just pow right in the kisser.
Pow! Right in the kisser.
Win by 20 because, dude, like we've had at the 2020 Olympics, which they had God knows fucking what year. I think 2021 because of COVID and shit. We lost the first game to France where they had that fucking robot shooting a 3-pointer at halftime, and then we won the gold medal. So, bro, we have Embiid this year.
I know. I think the USA is gonna comfortably win. I should say.
It's like, dude, like this might be one of those dominant. I don't. But and the thing is, it's like it's not. Most of these dudes have. Does Tatum have a gold medal? I think he might. On the 2020
question, I don't remember.
I know Bam, but yeah, it's gonna be fun, bro. But you know what? Let me see what time those games start because if the Olympics are gonna be in France, I know they're 10 hours ahead of me on the West Coast, so about 7 ahead of you.
Yeah, that's the only thing that I'm concerned about is them being so early in the day that I don't get to watch the games.
And the thing is, man, the Embiid initially, and I didn't really prepare the story for the show, which is kind of something I thought of, but I can talk about it more in the next episode. But he was actually gonna play for France. Like he was gonna play for France. He got French citizenship or got the right to get French citizenship, and he was just like, "Nah, I want to play with Bron." Of course he did. Bron James, welcome over. Welcome to America, amigo. Let me see. Yes, I am happy. Past time or Paris time or my time? Okay, what the fuck? 11. I'm trying to see what time the fucking games start. Okay, here we go. Men's Olympic. I don't know because they got like this shit's probably in like Turkey time or some shit like that.
Yeah, that's my concern.
I don't know if that means two. What are you doing? I can probably find on that. But anyway, the games are probably gonna be fucking. Okay, here we go. Says we'll conclude on August 4th. It's gonna be mad early. I don't think it's gonna be as early as if it were in like China, but it's gonna be fucking or Japan. Let me see. Oh, it says time to be. Oh, okay. 5 a.m. This is Eastern time. So this is for the quarterfinals. The preliminary rounds haven't been announced yet, but that'll probably be roughly, the same time. Quarterfinals, number 1 is gonna be 5 a.m. Eastern. So 2 from shit, bro. 2 a.m. for me, 8:30 a.m. Eastern, noon Eastern, and 3:30 p.m. Eastern for the quarterfinals. The gold medal game, which I assume we're going to be in, is going to be on August 10th at 3:30 p.m. Eastern. So,
what day is that?
That is going to, which that's cool. That's about a noon game for. Or wait, what day? What time did I say again? Oh, 3. So that's like a noon game for me. Shit. That is on August 10th. That is, I'm pretty sure that's a Sunday. It's normally, or a Saturday or Sunday. It's normally on a Sunday. That is, damn, we're barely over a month away from the end of the Olympics. Holy shit.
Yeah, they haven't even started yet.
Yeah, that's a Saturday is the 10th. And then on the 11th, for some reason, the main event is the women.
That's weird. Okay.
I mean, it's, bro, with as dominant as we are in men's basketball, like women's, all the talent is here. Like people will put Caitlin Clark, man, ain't nobody. People love Caitlin Clark, bro, but I'm sorry, motherfuckers are not what. She has a huge fan base. I can't say people aren't gonna wake up to see her, but they're not waking up to see Caitlin. They were waking up to see Steph Curry at that 2 a.m. They're not waking up to see motherfucking Caitlin Clark sit on the bench at 2 in the morning. People got to sleep for work and shit like that.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Whatnot.
Yeah, especially doing heroin, with it being so important. Have you been watching any soccer? I know you haven't.
No, not at all. I could not care less. Like there's nothing in the world that could make me care about soccer.
And it's one of those things to where it's like I just kind of watch it because I bet on it, and it's not really. It's cool when you see like how much the other countries like care, but it's really boring. I'm like, from an American perspective, like I like it, especially if I have money on it or if it's a big game. But at the end of the day, if you're not really into it, it's just packed for the like. Do you play for a whole hour and a half and it be 0-0? Nobody scored. Nobody even shoot the ball the whole game.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's really a bore, but I'm excited for NBA season. A little bit of drama going on in Big D pause. CD Lamb not coming to camp. What? I mean, I could ask him. It could be a loaded question, but what does this mean for Dallas this season?
It means fucking pay CD Lamb is what it means, Ian.
Give that man his bread.
Give the man his bread. He's like, I can deal with being the second highest paid receiver. Great. So make him the second highest paid receiver. There is no need to not have CD Lamb paid right now. I don't understand it. I'm not going to understand it. You can't make me understand it. He is, at the very least, an unquestioned top 5 receiver in the league. Agreed?
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. There's a couple of things you don't do. You don't say no when Layla London asks to come over to your house, and you don't not pay this man for being, like you said, at the worst, a top 5 receiver in the league. And then you talk about he's one of those guys that any day in the league he could go out next year and be the best receiver. Like, you need to give him his money. When you're in Dallas and you sound like you're in a tornado, buddy.
Hold on, let me fix that.
You're good.
There we go.
I said buddy. I said buddy. I've been on Facebook too long. Sorry. But what I was gonna say, buddy. Hey, buddy. But with Dallas, with Dallas, it's like their championship window. Like, do you ever? Because, like you said, like we were joking before the show about being 8-9. Like, is there anybody? I should say you're not really used to having mediocre or bad seasons at this point, but are you scared of your guys' championship window closing? Like, do you think it's closing? Do you think there's like an urgency to the CD Lamb thing because you need to do it now to win?
I don't think we have a championship window, to be honest. But I think our being competitive window would close if we didn't have CD Lamb. I mean, we can't, as much as I respect Brandon Cooks, we can't go into the season with him as our number 1 receiver.
No, absolutely not. And the quicker you get this shit straightened out with CD, the quicker he's able to get his ass in camp, and the quicker that they're able to get ready for the season. Because I personally, I don't know, man. It's one of those things to where it's pretty much flip a coin either every year, them or Philly. Like, you already know it's not going to be the Giants and it's not going to be the Washington football team. The Washington
Exactly.
They really need that name is so fucking trash, bro. I'm sorry. But it's one of those things to where you're like, what do they always say? I'm not gonna get in another man's pockets. Like, you don't want to. You just want to see it resolved. You're just like, give the man his money. You're like, we want you back, CD. Like, just come back, have faith in Jerry. He'll get it done. But do you think it's an ego thing with Jerry Jones? Like, he's a.
Here's the thing. I definitely think it's an ego thing, right? But I also fully believe we will pay him.
Yeah, I don't foresee a conclusion where he ends up not being paid and ends up going somewhere else.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's no scenario where I see we don't pay him. Your mic's breaking out.
I think regardless of what he comes.
Your mic is breaking out. I can't hear you.
Yeah.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
We apologize, Mixed Reactions. We're working on it as soon as possible.
We are dealing with technical difficulties. If you are still listening to this show, you're still a bitch.
Press 1. But I feel like with guys like they have good leadership. I feel like they'll get back on track regardless of what it happens. But sooner rather than later, right? I mean,
Yeah.
do you like I know I mentioned the question about if whether it's an ego thing with Jerry, but like do you foresee us getting into week 3 of the season and still no CD? Like do you
No.
how serious do you think it gets?
I think we could definitely see it to within the first preseason game. I could see that.
Yeah, the man is money. Like you only get so many chances to have really good players. You have Micah, you have CD, you have your guy on both sides of the ball, like
Yep.
your absolute playmaker. Lock him up. You already have good supporting pieces. You're already right there. And the thing with Dallas too, and we talk about this so much, it's you guys are so close. Like you guys kill it in the regular season. So the point where I'll watch the game sometimes, and I'll when you guys are playing and doing well, and it's like, dude, like they look amazing. Like they're fast. Micah hits fucking everything that goddamn moves. But it's just you guys don't. And that's the thing about the NFL, man. You get one game in the playoffs, bro. Like that's why it's so tough to watch because you guys do so good, and then within a span of 60 minutes, 3 hours over the course of a game, you're done, and you played one bad game. You don't get to be like, oh, we'll see him Tuesday like you do in the NBA.
Exactly. It's a completely different thing. It's a once a week scenario. And so I cannot envision Jerry being this delusional where he thinks that CD is just going to magically take a massive pay cut to stay with them.
And these players know their value. CD understands that anybody would give up. His team understands that anybody would give up an arm and a leg for. You know what I mean? So it's we'll see how it goes with Jerry. I mean, he's been in some famous negotiations in the past, but I want to see it get worked out for you guys because I don't want to have to turn on the fucking TV every week and hear about CD Lamb and what's going on in training camp. So, hopefully they get it figured out. My Rams, we're just trying to pick up the pieces.
Just trying to pick up the pieces.
For real, man. Like that shit hurts. Like for the longest time, I was forgetting he was retired, and now it's kind of sunk in. Like that shit, bro. Like that was our best player ever.
Yep.
Ever. Like, and I don't even think it's fucking close. I don't think any other Rams player is. I mean, Deacon Jones maybe, as far as just pure, just best. But I mean, people want to say Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, I guess to an extent. But yeah, Aaron Donald was. Thanks,
guy.
big man, for the memories, man. Just watching that man just destroy people and being like, he's on our side. That was a good feeling. The same way I'm sure you feel about Micah Parsons. And the same way I'm sure a lot of people feel about Draymond Green. I would love to have him on my fucking team, bro. People want
I
to
don't
complain
think
about
anybody has ever thought, oh, Draymond Green's the best player we've ever had.
Well, no, that's completely different. But I'm saying, like, as far as wanting somebody on your team, Draymond mentored the young guys. But at some point, though, he becomes more of a distraction. Like,
Did you ever see the Jimmy Kimmel thing or Jimmy Fallon thing where they read me, or it's either Kimmel or Fallon, they read mean tweets, and someone's like, Draymond Green looks like Donkey from Shrek.
yeah, there was a few of them. It was like
I haven't been able to unsee that one. Every time I look at Draymond Green, I see it.
the Dikembe Mutombo had one. He was like, I just feel good knowing that if the voice of the Cookie Monster ever dies, we can replace him with Dikembe
With Dikembe
Mutombo.
Mutombo. Yeah, I remember that one.
That's funny.
Did you see the one with Terrell Suggs? He's like, Terrell Suggs looks like a penis.
There was one with Blake Griffin that was funny as fuck too. He was like DeMarcus Cousins looks like an emotional lesbian.
Yeah.
You got that fucking. You got the Andy Griffin laugh. Yo,
That shit had me dying. That one though. I remember that one. DeMarcus Cousins looks like an emotional lesbian.
It's like they do the read mean tweets thing with like the police department out here and shit. And then I'm like, ooh, I don't think you guys are picking which ones because there's some worse tweets than that. Like
Oh, of course, yeah. They're not picking anything that's too controversial after
Oh
the
yeah,
police department, I bet.
oh yeah, you already know some of them tweets are like, "You fucking pig! I hope your mother fucking burns, you ugly, deformed,
Oh
inbred."
yeah.
Fuck. Yeah, no, they. But the one, you know, speaking of, we're gonna hawk Tua right over to goddamn a little bit of
I'm just
soccer.
saying she has my vote for president.
She has my vote for regional empress. That's not
She
even
just
a title, but
no, but she deserves it.
bro, did she get fired or some shit? I don't know if that shit was
No,
real.
she didn't. She went on a podcast recently and said everything that's been said about her is not true at all.
Man, shit.
People want to say our country is very divided, but it just takes one meme to bring the whole country together. And it was just some girl saying, "Oh, you gotta hawk Tua and spit on that thing." You feel me?
Somebody told me the little kids were at school spitting on each other.
And just with
What
those
was the
simple
parent?
words, the country was no longer divided.
Her face is gonna be in fucking museums.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you know when I see shit like that, I'm just like, that's somebody's daughter. Like, damn. Like what? Damn. Like she became famous. And honestly, the Hawk Tua girl is a great case study. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The Hawk Tua spit on that thing. Oh, pause. I should have just left it at Hawk Tua. But she's a case study for not a case study, an example for you can get famous from literally anything these days. Like, damn, bro, all she did was like be a whore in an interview because she was a little drunk, and now, like, she's getting fucking invites for like record deals and shit like that. Like, and it happens all the time too. Like,
So
the motherfucker.
5 words come to mind when I think of her. Just 5 simple words.
What is your address? Oh, that's 4.
Yeah. The words, my friend, would be not all heroes wear capes.
Some heroes actually hawk Tua. That's 5 words also. Yeah, no, and one of you, I mean, we gotta post that shit on. Oh, maybe I gotta make that like the thumbnail for the video. But the one that said Hawk 2 3 4, that shit,
Yeah.
or if she don't Hawk Tua, I don't want to talk to her.
She don't talk to her. I don't
Bro.
want to talk to her.
And it's the things like that that keep us fucking entertained because it's like 113 degrees out here. Like, bitch probably getting some sweaty ass hot to us smelling like Fritos and fucking Funyun dip and shit. Like, it's wild out here this heat, man. Like, it's sad to be like we go get the AIDS and they go just lose and it's gonna be hot as fuck outside and they're gonna get their ass kicked. But a lot of people say they're sabotaging that team. They sabotaged the roster because they did what the fans have supported, to get momentum for a new stadium. But we're getting Major League Baseball, bro. Come out here. The Red Sox are probably gonna travel pretty well. They're always gonna be one of those teams that travels well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Now, Ian, what do you say we move on to the question? Because I got a good one, and I think it's going to take a good 15 minutes for us to go through it.
I was wondering why we were starting on this so early on Padawan. Yeah, no,
Let's
I'm ready.
take the 5 GOATs in sports. And in the NBA, I want you to either use Michael Jordan or LeBron James. But in the NFL, of course, you have Tom Brady. In the NHL, you have Wayne Gretzky. In soccer, you'd have Messi. And then, that's baseball. You'd have probably, let's go. I'll go Barry Bonds because, he's, in my opinion, I think Barry Bonds is the greatest. Because, he won 7 MVPs, Gold Gloves, all that stuff, even before the steroids, and he's the home run leader. And so we're going to go Barry Bonds. I want you to take the 5 GOATs from those major sports, and I want you to rank them. Not in necessarily dominance in their sports, but in comparison to each other. For the undisputed GOAT of sports.
Hey, I'm gonna fuck you up. You eat these potatoes again. Shit. So wait. Five. So baseball, basketball, hockey, football, and what?
Soccer.
Oh, and soccer. Uh, Soccer might not be a little
Because we're
that
going
good
goats
on.
of team sports.
Okay. Number five. And I feel like soccer. I'll give my opinion on soccer, but I don't want to rank it because I'm gonna piss a lot of people off, and I don't know it well enough. So I'll go with the top four, and I know American pro sports well enough. Um, Number four. I know who's not number four, and that's Wayne Gretzky. Um, Number four for me, it was between the baseball and football because football is one of those things where there's just so many different like you look anywhere, you'll see a different go list. It's a lot of people say Jerry Rice. I at this point would say Tom Brady. But and I feel terrible considering Tom Brady has 7 championships. But considering, well, I mean, no, I take that back. I'd put Barry Bonds at four, just because I feel like he killed it. He did crush it. And like you said, it's not about dominance in his sport, but he never even won a single ring. So, I mean, yeah, he had the all-time home run record, but if we're talking about Gretzky, Braun, what's his fucking name?
Brady.
Brady, like they all have like some all-time um great record. So yeah, that number four, I would definitely put Barry Bonds. Number three, and it pains me to do Brady. Uh Brady. It's just because there's so much more variables that go into football. Like people are gonna call me crazy because Brady won, and I guess I did hold that against Bonds a little bit, but that was more so because he didn't even have one. But it's hard for me to put Brady above Gretzky. Oh, he's not going fucking above Gretzky. It's hard for me to put him above LeBron or Jordan because it his defenses were so good. And if he had four, okay, if pretty much just put it like this, like if Tom Brady had won his last Super Bowl when they beat the Texans, and he ended up going the next, I don't know, what, fucking 16 years without a Super Bowl, like, would we still look at him as like the undisputed GOAT? Probably not, but he's had great teams. No, number two, I'd have to go Braun, just because everything he's done, 4 championships, 4 MVPs, all-time scoring leader, longevity, physically like nothing we've ever seen, accomplishments we've never seen, winning a championship with 3 different organizations, going to the finals, 7 years in a row, 8 years,
9.
whatever. What was
I'm
it?
sorry,
No,
8.
it was from
8.
2011. Yeah, 2011
8.
and 2018. That's
Yeah, because he
crazy.
went
And
4 years in a row with the Heat and then 4 years in a row with the Cavs.
and then obviously number one is
Wayne
Gretzky.
Gretzky. Yeah, I think that
The
goes
the
without saying.
the only undisputed GOAT in sports, because it's like without great. I mean, they had a great team. They had Messier, but 4 straight Stanley Cups or 5 straight Stanley Cups. Like, bro, like that is absolutely in pro sports when you have money changing hands, you have huge deals, you have trades, you have teams making moves that don't make sense to win 4 in a row. Crazy. He's just like you watch the old games of him, bro. It's like he's not even on the same level as anybody else on the ice.
One of the craziest stats still to me to this day is he could have never scored a goal and he'd still be the all-time points leader. That
That's
is
pure
still
dumb.
one of the craziest stats to me. Before I give my list, you know another crazy stat? Did you know more men have walked on the moon than have scored a run against Mariano Rivera in the postseason?
How many men have walked on the moon?
12.
Thought it was one. Holy shit.
12 men have walked on the moon. 11 men have scored on Mariano Rivera in the postseason. Out of a 20-year career, he only routed 11 runs in the whole postseason.
That's crazy, bro. You used to hear that it's for sad bad and it was over. But what's your list? I want to hear your list and your breakdown.
So for my 4, yeah, I don't know much about soccer either. So with my 4, I do agree with you. I'm going to go Barry Bonds. Doesn't have a single championship, has a boatload of MVPs, obviously the all-time home run king. Just by far one of the most talented baseball players that's ever walked on the planet Earth. There's no question about that. For my number 3, I don't think you're going to like this. I'm going to go Braun. The reason I'm going Braun is because it's tough to put him at 1 or 2 when there's almost a 50-50 debate if he's even the GOAT in his own sport.
Is Brady unanimously the GOAT, though?
At this, maybe not unanimous, but at this point, it's at least 85 to 90% people are going to say Brady.
Yeah, that's fair.
So when you're not even a unanimous or consensus GOAT, I should say, I can't really rank you above the other 2. Now, obviously, LeBron is phenomenal. All-time leading scorer in the NBA, 4 championships, 8 straight, finals appearances. I think 10 overall. He's nothing short of sensational. That goes without saying. My number 2 would be Tom. 7 trips to the Super Bowl, 10 appearances, 4-time MVP or 3-time MVP, multiple-time Super Bowl MVP. Of course, I think he has 5 of them. Only Julian Edelman and Deion Branch got one other than him when they won their Super Bowls. All-time passing leader. Pretty much every passing record you can imagine he has. But you're 100% right with your number 1. It's Gretzky, and I don't think it's that close. He's the undisputed GOAT of team sports. Yeah. I think that there's...
Because when you
real quick, the phrase "ahead of your time" is used a lot when it's referenced to people, but Wayne Gretzky was truly one of those people who was ahead of his time. He was so much better than everybody else on the ice that it was almost like it was 2 players on the ice, if that makes sense. Like, he was that good. It's almost like you had an extra man advantage, just him being out there.
Yeah, and another thing, too, and this isn't even so much to the success that he brought his team with goals and championships, but you talk about his impact and coming to LA and now you look up 2024 and we have the Vegas Golden Knights, the Anaheim Ducks. Like, he brought hockey to the West Coast. People didn't think it was possible. I mean, and if you look in hindsight, even though we've seen the success of the Golden Knights, their attendance, we've seen rest in peace to the Coyotes, but we've seen the Ducks, but if Gretzky didn't come along at that time when he was in his prime, we might not really care about hockey on the West Coast, even to this day.
No, that's a really great point. And real quick, before we get off, I just had one other question that popped in my mind, and we can just run through this quickly here. And it's kind of an off question. It's not something that we've really ever asked at Mixed Reactions before, and you could label this as a controversial sports question, just because of the seriousness of it. What, in your opinion, was the worst sports injury that you've ever seen?
Oh, live?
Not even necessarily live. It could have been a clip that you saw. It could have been, it doesn't have to be a game that you were watching.
Hey, Tony, I'm going to fuck you up. Well, I'm going to give a 2-parted answer. One of them was, as far as the ones I was watching live, was when, you might have been watching this game. We used to talk about it. It was Louisville was playing Duke in the 2013 Elite Eight.
Kevin Ware
went to contest a shot and broke his fucking leg, and they had the fucking Smokey, get the fuck down. They had the audacity to show that shit the first time it happened, and then after that they were
bones poking through his skin.
They're like, yeah, let's not.
Sean was at that game, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was at that game because Michigan State, I want to say, had lost to, I think, Duke or Louisville in the game before. And then as far as the worst one I've seen, period, there's a bunch. Joe Theismann breaking his leg was fucking disgusting.
Gordon Hayward, Paul George.
Yeah, Paul George was nasty. Gordon Hayward. Sean Livingston is one of the worst
Oh my
ever.
God, Sean Livingston's was disgusting. Yeah.
The worst that I've ever seen is if you go Google that shit. His name is Alan Ray. He used to play for Villanova. I think it's like Ray
He
Allen.
played for the
Exact
Celtics too.
spelling. Yeah, he did play for the Celtics for a little while. Around the same time that Ray Allen played for them too. But yeah, no. Anyway, the Big East tournament, he got poked and his fucking eyeball came out, bro.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was disgusting. Yeah, mine would be the Kevin Ware one too. I would just kind of see where your head was at that one.
Have you ever watched the gruesome injury live?
Like at a game.
At a game or as you're watching it on TV, like as it's going on.
Well, I mean, TV, yeah, of course. Like I was watching the Louisville game when Kevin Ware shattered his leg. I was watching the Celtics Cavaliers game where Gordon Hayward broke his leg. The Paul George injury, Alex Smith. I was watching all those games as they happened. Trying to think of anything that I can remember that I saw live. A few years ago, I don't remember the player's name, unfortunately, which is sad. There was a player for Alabama Anchorage who was a hockey
team.
Right?
Anchorage?
Alaska. Was it? Is either Alabama or Alaska?
Anchorage is in Alaska.
Alabama Huntsville. Jesus Christ. So sorry. Alabama Huntsville.
Oh, yeah. Alabama Huntsville, yeah.
God. Alabama Huntsville. At the Alfond. This was, 2011, I believe it was. One of their players was getting checked into the boards and kind of got his skate caught. And as he was getting caught in it, there was another skirmish into the back corner. And another player rolled into his knee when it was like his knee was straightened out. And he broke his knee. Like you could tell it was broken. You couldn't see bone or anything like that. But there was no question about it. Like he did not get up for, I'd say, 7 to 8 minutes, and then he had to get carried off.
Worst I've ever seen, and we'll get off after this in person, is I was at 11 at a basketball tournament, and this kid, I think I was on the bench at the time, and the kid went to jump to save the ball, but the wrestling mat was so close behind the backboard that he just put his leg up at an instinct to stop himself and snapped that motherfucker. They stopped the game for like 45 minutes. He broke his leg. He was like, I want my mommy. Scary as shit. And we still had like 2 more quarters to go. We won that game. Shout out to Cookie. Speaking of Cookie, you remember Nez Declassified?
I do.
Have
you ever seen their podcast?
Yeah, isn't it? It's like all of them, isn't it? Or it was like 2 of them.
Yeah. So the girl that played his best friend and Ned, I guess, were always fucking off screen.
Nice. Same way with Eddie and motherfucking Raven and shit from That's So Raven. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Hollywood's a fucked up world. Like,
dude, Josh Peck on Drake and Josh. He said after the 3rd season, he said he was always fucked up shooting the show. That's kind of a dark reality. So if you're on with Drake and Josh and you go from the 3rd season on, the guy who plays Josh was always fucked up during filming.
Yeah, and they said that he would show up fucked up, and they're like, "It's bro." But that's the thing, as kids, like I never would have thought that motherfucker was on drugs.
No, God, no.
That's Josh. That's Joshy. He like Oprah, like.
He did like Oprah.
Oprah can do anything.
Anything.
Man, that show was the worst with fucking knockoffs, bro. They had Mocha Cola, Game Sphere. They had just a bunch of bullshit. They used to fucking piss me off with the different knockoffs. But yeah, man, it's been real, summertime, not much we can talk about. We're gonna obviously talk a lot more free agency as things go along. Olympic basketball, we're definitely gonna talk that. We're not really gonna talk much soccer, everybody. So no Golasso here. It's gonna pretty much
in about another month or so, we will be talking some preseason football.
Yeah, the thing about I like about preseason before we get off is preseason is it's like especially like if you're watching your team and you're watching every game, it's like you can start to understand. It's part of the story. Like you need to understand how Some of these dudes are getting cut, and you watch these dudes make effort plays too. Like I'm not.
I
going
say
home.
I like preseason sometimes too because it shows you like, okay, well, you know, these backups that are literally playing their hearts out to try to make the team. Like when you're watching it, you don't understand. When you're watching it as a young kid, I guess I suppose you don't understand that these guys are fighting for their jobs and their lives essentially. And so they will make some effort plays that, to be honest, you might not see a starter make during a regular season game.
Because they just don't, they know their spot is there, and that's the thing too about watching the preseason. And I remember the Hard Knocks one year they had it with Josh Scobie, and when he was a rookie, and he kicked the kickoff, and I think he rocked somebody or he did something crazy, and he's just pumped, and you can't help but feel it pumped up for the kicker because you're like, yo, like
Yeah,
he might lose his job. And the Hard Knocks thing, and who is it? Is it Pittsburgh this year? No.
it's Chicago.
Bills. With Caleb. Yeah, you're right. With how do you? That's a different story. But yeah, definitely Chicago Bears gonna be pretty interesting on Hard Knocks.
To be fair, before we get off here, I'm not sure if you agree with this. I would much rather watch a preseason game than I would the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, because the preseason dudes are actually like they're out there playing. Like you think some of these backups aren't going full tilt. Like you're tripping. These dudes, like you said, like they're playing for their livelihood. Like they might have to go tell their kids that they just lost out on their dream if these dudes are playing for like they're one step away. Like they almost got, and you get so happy for these guys, man. Especially when you hear the different stories, and it's like,
When
and
it's
then,
the
and then
dress rehearsal, when it's the dress rehearsal game and the starters are in for, a half. Yeah, sure, they're playing. Don't get me wrong, but they're not going to take risks.
Yeah, and you see dudes out there like playing for their lives. Like they don't know.
Absolutely.
They don't know if they drop this punt if they're gonna go back to working at fucking Winco. You know what I mean? And real shit. Like it's uncertainty. Like outside of the NFL, CFL, like pro football life is not like there aren't too many good. Stop fucking that cat. There aren't too many good pro football leagues.
There's one. There's one good pro football league. You can argue the CFL's probably got talented players, absolutely. I think it's between Ottawa and some other team that I peeked in on it last night because it was late in the fourth and it was like a one-score game. And I think it was Ottawa ended up winning on a game-winning field goal. It was pretty entertaining. Don't get me wrong. It's a decent football, but there's nothing that competes with it. The UFL, did you watch any UFL games this year?
Not a single fucking snap.
See, I watched bits and pieces, I'd say each week because I was bored on a Saturday afternoon, but I never sat down and watched a full game by any stretch. Like I probably watched at most, and this isn't even at one time, at most 2 quarters. Like through every play that I've watched, I probably watched about 2 quarters. It's meh at best.
No, yeah, I get you, but my cat Pepper. Before we sign off, is there anything you'd like to tell everybody?
Folks, we were without Justin again tonight. It was just Ian and I. But Justin's gonna be back soon. We got a lot to talk about. Preseason football coming up, which means the real thing's coming up. Olympic basketball. Ian's still a bitch. I mean, there's so much that we have to go over.
Yeah, they're just wait a minute. But no, seriously, yeah, thanks to everybody for listening, man. Gonna try to get at the show as soon as possible. As always, like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out when we post something new. My name is Ian, coming from Las Vegas live with my Las Vegas Raiders and Casey Merritt signing off. Good night, everybody. Go fuck yourself.